my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
What I specifically said was there are a lot of men who don't actually like women. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
has nothing to do with their sexuality. They may be sexually attracted to women. However, they do not view women as their equals. They do not have the same level of respect for women that they should, and that they do for men. They do not prefer to emotionally bond with a woman, but they do, in fact, emotionally bond with men. They choose not to be vulnerable or open with women, but they do, in fact, do that for men. The reason why they're not in relationships with men is because they do not like men in a sexual way. However, they're attracted to women, and this is why they get into relationships with women, because sex is tied to that relationship. But it's more from a object standpoint than it is a peer-to-peer, a equal, I see you, I value you the same way as you value me. And
Mm-hmm.
so what end up happening is you'll have these men who almost are incapable of having functional relationships with women because that like as people isn't there. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the crux of the video before we go any deeper into it.
Okay, so this is a great topic because I actually agree with you. So I did a video, and I want to play the video because the video actually orchestrates what I said. But the one problem I have with what you just said, just one little thing. Women are not equal to men, period. So all the other things we could talk about, but one thing I don't want to go down a rabbit hole about is men and women are equal, because they're not. But I don't want to go down that particular rabbit hole. So can we stay away from that part and talk about the rest of it?
Okay, as long as you tell me if they're not equal, who's better?
Men are better, but it doesn't matter.
So
it doesn't
men
matter
are better.
who's better.
Okay,
Yeah.
but hold on. So men are better as people, you think?
As individual people, yeah.
Men are better.
Women will tell you, like the number one excuse a woman will use for the goofy stuff that they do is, well, we're emotional. So every time they do something wrong or whatever, what do you expect? We're emotional, right? So they have an embedded excuse for whatever they do as far as their behavior goes. And who picks the worst mates and complains about their own choices? Women, not men.
So I'm glad you brought me on here. You know, like I said, everybody know we friends.
Yeah.
Do you know what the definition of misogyny is?
No, never really looked it up.
Misogyny is hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against women.
Okay, you said hatred of.
Or the word or. So is a hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against women. Do you not think the blanket statement of saying men are better than women, does that not display a prejudice against women?
No, it's a reality. It's not prejudice. See, one man versus another man, we're the same like sex. So that can be looked at as a prejudice. A woman can look at another woman and say, I'm better than you. That is prejudice because they are the same people. They might be different financially or economically or, live somewhere different. So that prejudice is there due to something other than their anatomy and other than their role in life. So this in particular is not a prejudice. This in particular is reality. Now,
hold
on. No. The word better has no context to it. So I can actually pull away from that so we can get back on the actual conversation, because we can go down a rabbit hole about that, because what is better contextually? And that's a whole nother conversation.
So hold on. Okay, I got it. Since you introduced it, I have to get the last word because I didn't bring this up. You brought it up. So no,
I just wanted to pull out the men and women are equal part.
So, but because you did, you got the first word, so I should get the last one. So
okay.
I do think that thinking is inherently misogynistic, and it's such an archaic way of thinking, because oftentimes we measure men as being better in terms of strength or this or that. And there is things sex-wise that make us different, but a woman's ability to carry children, create children, nurture children, a woman's ability to multitask, a woman's ability, straightforward. There are women that will outthink you, outlift you, outrun you. And so to
Not
think
many.
that just because there are women that will outlift, outthink, out successful you in
There are
about in,
birds that don't
so
fly.
here's my point. My point
There are
is
birds that don't fly.
here's my point. My point is I think it is textbook misogyny to have this blanket statement to say men are better than women.
Okay.
And I think you feel that way because you've been conditioned to think that.
Okay.
And you term the word better from a masculine sense. You think masculine qualities, since we have more masculine qualities, we are better. However, women have feminine qualities. And when you think about what value both men and women bring to the world, I view it as equal. So when I say men or women are equal, I don't mean the same. I mean,
Well, that's what equal means.
No, equal in terms, I don't mean identical. Since you
I
want to
was
get
just okay with misogyny,
Okay, so
your term. We got to be okay with the term equal being equal.
Okay, so but equal doesn't mean identical. You can have a $50 bill and 5 tens and it still equals the same amount of money. So you think just because a man and a woman isn't equal, that in turn that means that are identical, that they're not equal, that they don't have equal value. I believe they have equal value.
Can we get to the actual subject?
Okay,
Instagram cuts people off like
Go ahead.
in an hour or something. Right.
You introduce it. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me play the video that I said about our women and damn, it didn't pin. All right, whatever. So let me play this video.
Women don't make men feel safe emotionally or physically. And that is the thing. We have to look at these women and say, why aren't we men emotionally attracted to women? Instead of saying y'all niggas gay because y'all emotionally attracted to each other, why aren't men emotionally attracted to women? What is going on with women emotionally that is actually repulsing us? So women be like, why don't these men want to commit? That's the thing, that the emotional connection is never there.
I can't trust you.
It isn't talked about because we say women are emotional. So it's assumed that the emotional connection is there because they're more emotional than us. But in all honesty, we're more emotional than them. Women do not know how to moderate their emotions, so they're all over the place. But that also makes you not trustworthy emotional.
Because I can't trust you.
I can't trust you because you're all over the place.
Because we don't know what you're going to say. We don't know what you're going to do.
So that is my case on this particular situation. Everything about human beings is about trust or safety, right? Men and women want to feel safe in their skin, in their environment, or any other situation, right? So the thing about this, what we're talking about now, is simply women are more impulsive and more emotionally erratic when it comes to just everyday life. It's the typical woman, typical man. Typical woman is a little bit more erratic emotionally, right? Which makes that particular woman not necessarily as trustworthy as a man, right? So like me and you, we can be out somewhere, we can be whatever. If a fight breaks out, if somebody starts shooting, or if anything happens, we're both going to operate somewhat the same. We're going to look at each other and we're going to kind of like follow each other's eyes, like, or whatever we need to do. But when it comes to a woman, she's going to start screaming and hollering. And depending on who the woman is, I'm going to have to grab her to get her to do what I need her to do, because she's going to be a little erratic. And that's normal. That's okay. She's a woman, right? So when it comes to the emotional stability of a human being, men are more emotionally stable. The average man versus the average woman is all I'm saying. So with all that being said, it's not about if it exists, it's about why it exists. So go ahead.
Few things you said. Now, MrLetGo, the thing is, I've been on set with you many times, so I've learned to just let you get what you got to get out. So I just let you get it out. Here's the thing. My opinion is, I don't think, and this is just, it sounds, the statement you made sounds like a man that don't like feminine qualities. Don't view feminine qualities the same way that he views male qualities. So the context that you use when you're describing the feminine nature is always in a negative connotation, or it seems that way. It is, you use erratic, you call women children, they think like children, they need God. You say these things because maybe and this is for a lot of men, as boys, we grow up being taught how to be a man by not being like a girl. And then you're chastised.
By who though?
Let me finish. I'll let you finish.
Okay.
You're chastised by having qualities that are feminine in nature. So you're teased for that. So you grow up almost hating the feminine qualities, and you're trying your hardest not to exhibit any of that, because you're taught that if you throw like a girl, if you act like a girl, if you cry like a girl, then that's bad. So then you grow up as grown men feeling like feminine qualities are bad or less than the qualities you possess. And what I'm saying is that statement that you just made, it almost exudes that energy. Do you not agree?
I'm okay with that. But there's a reason why that is a reality in any masculine male, because we have a responsibility as men to understand the hierarchy of life, which is we are the protectors of women. In order to protect women, we can't be women. We have to be different than women. We have to embrace our masculinity. And what a lot of men, and really what a lot of women, and what society has pushed men to do, is to look at masculinity as somewhat of like we're somewhat villainized for being masculine. We're villainized for being, it used to be a word last year. They don't say it that much. It's a toxic masculinity, right?
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the
Right.
thing.
So the thing, but just like we talked about better and these other things, there's context that needs to be shared in these situations. So toxic masculinity without context is like when a man is being masculine, when a man is, just being himself, he's toxic or it's toxic. And why can't a man act more like a woman? Or why can't a man embrace his feminine qualities, things like that? And it turns into where a man is demonized for simply being masculine. So that is the biggest thing. Hold on, I'm not done. So when we're young, and I said this on your show, you remember you posted it the other day. We are raised in broken homes, most of us, right? And we're raised by our mothers only, most of us, right? Mm-hmm. And women don't necessarily know how to raise males, most of them, right? Some do. But the biggest issue is you have millions of black men being raised by women, and they're taught not to do something instead of what to do, because a woman can't tell a young man what to do in order to embrace his masculinity. The only thing she can do is tell him what not to do, how not to act. So the specific thing that you just said was actually taught to us males by women, because the majority of us black males were raised by women and not by men. Because when you're taught not to do something, you now have a deficit of what do I do? If I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that, I shouldn't do this. Okay, what do I do? And if nobody gives you instructions on what to do as a man, you're now this empty vessel, because you don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know what your responsibility is as a man.
MrLetGo, we agree on that. We agree that most of these issues that we're talking about, this whole premise of the conversation, this is why I disagree with the statement, the video you made where you were talking about men don't feel safe enough around women to be emotionally connected, blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily think that's the issue. The issue stems from childhood trauma. It stems from the relationship that you have with your mother. It can be a negative relationship that you have with your mother. Yes, so I do agree with what you're saying. So I don't think that random Susie B that's watching right now is the reason why her man can't open up. I more so think that it is his inability to heal that childhood trauma that he experienced from maybe his mother, or it could have been, a lot of times it's trauma
Or
from
the
our developmental
deficit of
age.
his father. Yes.
Right, deficits of the father, and or let's add this part, in the developmental stages, sometimes you were picked on by a kid as a kid. So whether it was other children, other males picking on you because you exhibited more feminine qualities, because you were raised with a mother, you learned her mannerisms, you went to school, and now they called you gay, now they called you this, that, and the other, you like a girl, now you're not in the cool kids, so now you learn, okay, I have to shut those qualities off. Or it may be young girls, when you get to middle school or whatever, teasing you, picking on you, not liking you, and now you develop this type of disdain in your developmental years. Most of these things that we are blaming each other for as adults are not your partner's fault, are not this person's fault, that person's fault. And I know we can agree on this. Most of it is your parents' fault.
Yes.
Most of it
Stop right there. You just explained what other kids are doing to us and how it formed our brains. No, it's what our parents. I just want everybody to pay. No. I get what you're saying, but I just want everybody watching to just make sure you get that part. The opposite sex, boys, girls, did not traumatize you. Your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your grandmother, your grandfather traumatized you. Not little boys and not little girls. I just want to make sure they go there. Go ahead.
First of all, we saying the same thing.
I just wanted to stipulate that part. That's all.
But I know, but we can't. And it's not worth to argue about. There are studies that talk about the effects of bullying and teasing in your developmental years. Those peers that you have while you're developing have a strong influence over your growth as well. So we're not going to act like that doesn't happen. We're not going to act like that when you talk about this misogyny that's ingrained in a lot of men. It is, yes, the relationship that you have with your mother, that disconnect. Maybe you wouldn't care for.
Do you think that's a byproduct?
Let me continue this thought, because I think we're on the same page. Okay. It is that disconnect and nurture, right? You're not feeling safe with your mother. Maybe she doesn't love you enough. Maybe she doesn't make you feel comfortable. Or maybe once you start to detach, because you got to think, you in that Oedipus complex. So you start to detach from your mother and you say, in order for me as a young man to have autonomy, I have to rebel against my mother. And in order for me to be a man, I have to be the opposite of what my mother is to me. And so there is, so I guess here's the point that I wanted to make about the statement that you made. I think a lot of us, especially males, because we're not healing from that trauma, I can't go back and make it to where I can live and grow up with my father in a home. And nor was that my choice. There are a lot of men growing up in fatherless homes, and we incur issues from that. And it's nothing we could have done about it as a child. But there are things that we can do about it as adults. And those steps we're not taking. A lot of us in mass forms are not taking those steps. So we're bringing our unhealed versions of ourselves into relationships. And this is the part that I don't like. And now we'll blame our significant other for things we really should blame our mother for things we really need to blame our absent father for really looking in the mirror and say, hey, listen, I got to blame myself because these
our lack of action to get therapy for.
Yeah, exactly. So now we get into these relationships. And here's the thing. Part of being masculine, and that's why I say toxic masculinity is a thing, because I know you don't agree with that word, but a lot of people think it's more masculine not getting help. You know what I'm saying? That's some soft shit. Like, therapy, shit, that's some soft shit. Like, and so they're not even thinking about that's an option because their masculinity won't allow them to be vulnerable enough to accept help and talk to somebody about things that's going on in the inside.
I agree with you. So I want to go back to getting bullied and stuff like that, because this is when we finally get to the point where young men and young women realize that they're not being protected and their actual their attachment style starts getting formed, right? So when you're a baby, if mom is by herself, right, single mother, because it's not just about you only have one parent, and because you have one parent, you have trauma. No, it's what goes on a normal basis. Usually when it's a single mother or a single father, because I think single fathers traumatize young people as bad as single mothers do. So I'll just say single parents, right? Because anybody grew up with a father only was traumatized. Okay, it's like single fathers would say the same mess that a single mother would say. Don't trust no man. Don't let no man control you. All you need is me. So a single father is as bad as a single mother, right? So when you have one parent, there is an issue with care, because that one parent usually has to work. That parent has to do this, and that parent has to have their own lives also, right? So when your attachment style is being formed, like from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even before you turn into a teenager and get around other kids, your mom is dropping you off at a daycare. Your mom is dropping you off over somebody's house, and you're not getting the care and attention that you actually need as a child. And next thing you know, every time mom leaves, as a child, you have no understanding of time. So you don't even know if your mom is ever going to come back. I want you to think about it. You have no idea that your mom is ever going to come back when she leaves you, because you don't understand time yet. Like, your world is like me and my mom. And then when mom is not in the room, you're like, where's my mom? But when you're in somebody else's house and the house smells differently and you don't smell mom, you know, women have a smell. Mom has a smell, right? So even if mom is not in the room, you can hear her voice. You can, you know, her scent. But when you're in somebody else's house or you're at daycare, now you're like, am I ever going to see my mom? Who is this? What's going on? And you ever see how to have a child stare at a new person? They just look at a person, they be like, because their neurons is trying to be formed, or starting to be formed to actually, you know, put together connections. Like, who does this person represent to me? Is this person safe or is this person dangerous, right? So what happens to a young child with a single parent? They're moved and they're not cared for properly, and their dysfunctional attachment style begins to form. So then now they got to go to school, right? So now, due to how they were, I would say, subtly traumatized by their single parent, now they're either they talk too much, they need attention, they acting up, or either they are taking on abusive traits from their mom, because their mom like, sit down, shut up, I'll do this, I'll do that. Next thing you know, the kid goes to school and starts to take that anger out on their parent. One more thing, hold on other kids, which is the bully. But then you might have a kid who actually withdraws from everybody because of their trauma from their mom. They have an avoidant attachment style, so they stay to themselves. And then when kids are not necessarily being socialized amongst each other, that kid is a problem. Next thing you know, they're picking on the quiet kid, right? So a lot of times it's a byproduct. Once they go to school, them being picked on is a byproduct of what happened to them at home. And then when the kid gets picked on, they don't feel protected by their own mother or father when they say, hey, mom, I'm getting picked on. I don't like my environment. Oh, just deal with it. Just suck it up. Learn how to fight. And if you got a mom, your mom is just going to be like, well, we'll go fight him. Okay, can you teach me how to fight? Can you teach me how to do this? Single mothers can never teach a little boy how to do anything. So next thing you know, the boy has a deficit of information. So now he's like, I don't know what to do. How do I deal with this problem?
So, okay, couple things. I'm going to bring this back in. Couple things to address. I do agree with what you said. I mean, and I know a lot of people, you know, sometimes hearing things from MrLetGo is hard, you guys. So just let him get that spiel because
it doesn't matter.
It was actually facts. There are studies that back that up. And I want, before we go further, ladies, I know we've been talking about men, but I don't want y'all in the comment section acting all haughty. Because with MrLetGo,
well, this is an example of erratic behavior.
Let me finish. See, there you go. No, but there you go. See, yeah, I'll address that later. And the reason why I say that is, what we've been describing is a lot of those childhood traumas that present in men as they grow older. And a lot of times a man will have that avoidant attachment style. He'll avoid commitment, or he avoid feeling vulnerable. He'd void. But the same is true, but opposite for a lot of women. Don't think that you're not you're immune to childhood trauma too. A lot of times it presents a different type of way though. It presents in an anxious attachment style. Now you can't leave. And this is why you in this toxic ass relationship year after year after year after year. So right now we're talking about men, but I don't want y'all to think that this conversation is only about men. It's how you grow up when you have this dysfunction or your needs are not met when you are a child. And this is why the child rearing process is so important, and why it is important for you to have two healthy adults raising this kid. And then outside of those two healthy adults, you have a village of people that's helping rear this child, because those issues that you experience as a child, if you do not heal once you become an adult, will continue to surface in your relationships. Lady, the reason why you keep staying with that loser or that toxic ass man year after year after year, you can't seem to let go, is not because he's doing anything. It's because in your childhood, maybe you had some abandonment issues. Maybe you had some attention deficit. Maybe somebody overly coddled you. Maybe you sought validation from a male figure that you didn't get, and now you're getting from him. There's so many things to unpack about our childhood.
Or he reminds you of your abusive mother. And he actually, because a lot of people, what unbeknownst to them, they actually start dating the reincarnation of their mother in a male form.
And so, but I want to just dive back, because I gotta in a second I gotta go take my car to get an oil change. You know, I want to learn how to do that stuff, man, but I don't do shit with my hands. Hey, listen, I've learned I'm not that handy dude. Like, I'm not the clean the gutters, mow the grass, get under the car dude, bro. Like, I just can't. I had to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Because part of, you know, your masculinity to take a hit, you take your car to get the oil change. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. If somebody said, I'll give you $10,000 right now to change your own oil, I just wouldn't have $10,000, dog. I don't know how to do it.
But there's nothing wrong with that, because masculinity isn't about doing. Masculinity is about being. Like, knowing that, or, you know, being aware, keyword being aware that, hey, I don't know how to change my oil. I'm totally okay with asking for help. Yo, somebody said they're gonna pay me $10,000 to change my oil. Aaron, can you help me and get me on the phone, and I'll show you, all right, do this, do that. And then now you get a $10,000. See, that's the masculinity, not being able to do stuff, but being able to be what you need to be. Be a protector. Be like a woman's safe space. We as men and women also, we spend so much time thinking that doing is feminine and doing is masculine. No, it's about who you actually are as a person. So all you have to do is learn more how to be instead of do. You'll be okay. Because changing oil is not about masculinity.
But I want to answer your initial question, and then I'll let you get the final say. The question is, are men more emotionally attracted to other men than they are women? Yes. And my answer to that is, I do think there's a good portion of men that are like that.
Why do you think that, though? I
think it's commonality. I think it's easier to relate to a man that have a similar shared experience. But I think that's true amongst a whole bunch of different things. If me and you, we both black, or me and her, we both black. So it's probably easier for me to relate to her than random, one of our white cousins. It just, you have shared experiences, viewpoints, and interests. And so it's just easier. And then because there is no relationship expectation, right? So a lot of times when we bond with women, we bond with women, or we get in relationships with women, there is this relationship expectation or this fear that this person may say that they're here unconditionally, but you tell her some shit, you fuck up a couple times, she gonna leave. Whereas your boy, you more so have the security of this man is gonna be in your life, and if you go cheat or you go make a mistake or whatever, it's not affecting your relationship. So it seems to be more secure. What I would say is the problem isn't necessarily that, though. You know what I'm saying? The problem is some men don't have the ability, if they want to try to emotionally connect with women. Even if there's a strong desire to. So you meet a woman that you do like and that you do want to settle down with, you do want to have children with, you do want to marry, but you haven't either been taught, or maybe that trauma that you do have, that mistrust that you do have, won't allow you to open up as much as you need to. Because here's the thing. The same dudes that don't want to talk to you about shit, ladies, will spend if he link up with his boys and go out to drink, gonna say all the shit you've been begging him to say to you, because there's this more safety and comfort there than it is with you. But I also say this, that this is where I differ from.
For women do the same thing. That's what makes it something that's not crazy for men to be more emotionally attracted to men, because women are more emotionally attracted to women. It's about commonality.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, though, we are speaking the same language.
Yeah.
My point in saying is, if you want to have functional relationships with the opposite sex, though, that's something you're going to have to learn how to do. That's something you're going to have to unpack. That's something that you're going to have to get some therapy about. If you're not able to be vulnerable or open up or show some type of emotional availability and intelligence with your partner, male or female, then that is going to cause issues in your relationship. So this is why you have life coaches. This is why you have therapists. This is why you have counselors. This is why you have people to help you unpack that stuff. A lot of you guys think you can heal your childhood trauma by yourself, and you keep finding out over and over again that you can't. So I just encourage everybody on here to seek help if you are struggling with this, because it's hard to have functional relationships without that channel of communication and availability.
All right, I know you got to go, but that is the thing that is important for us to just all understand, that women are also more emotionally attracted to other women. So it doesn't mean women are gay or men are gay. No, it means that there's a problem within our communities where we don't trust the other sex as much as we trust the same sex. So instead of running around being like, oh, these men are gay or women, whatever, there's a herd mentality going on where we're somewhat afraid of the opposite sex hurting us. We're afraid of the opposite sex betraying us. But our homeboys or your homegirls, oh, y'all been like this for like 20 years. But why can't you have a 20-year-long friendship with the opposite sex? And it goes back to y'all, just the watchers, not Ace, your inability to trust. And that is something that nobody wants to talk about. And that can actually be embraced and talk and discussed more in therapy. I'm a coach. I actually coach women. Some of y'all be like, how did I coach women? I've been coaching women for like 5 years. Me and Ace talked about doing a coaching group 5 years ago. You know, so Ace knows I've been coaching for like the last 5 years. So the bottom line is we have to get around more women or more men so we can learn to trust them. We stay with each other. We're almost like little eighth graders. You know how the 8th grade dance or 6th grade dance, the little boys over here and the little girls over here? We're like that as adults. And men and women are literally emotionally afraid of the opposite sex. So yes, we actually are more emotionally attracted to other men than we are to other women. And the bottom line is, you as a woman have to ask yourself, why is this? And look into this instead of demonizing us for this.
I got to say one more thing, because I've seen one of our cast members posted something, and I want to give her a thought. What's jet lag? I've been seeing you post. But I want you guys to understand that I personally believe there's a difference between being romantically attracted or romantically available for a person and emotionally attracted and emotionally available. So I do think that those two different things, they can intertwine, but just because a man and or a woman they're romantically attracted, so you have that lust, you have that passion, you have that sexual urge. It can even be some form of intimacy. However, when you talk about emotions, that attraction is a different thing. When you talk about emotional availability, that's a different thing. So I do feel like, okay, obviously, men or women can be romantically attracted to each other. And I feel like women are probably really romantically attracted to a man that they vibe with. But that doesn't mean you're necessarily opening it up. So think about it like this. I got to use this one point, Aaron, and I promise I got to get off here. But like, think about it like this. Ladies, you say you open up to your man, but think about even sexually. Think about how many times sexually that you want him to do something, or you may have some type of fetish or fantasy, but you feel unsafe saying it to him, or you don't feel like you can speak up, or there's something that he's doing that's bothering you, but because maybe you've been chastised before in a previous relationship or with your parents for speaking up and being assertive about what can actually help this relationship be better, you don't bring it up. So although emotionally you feel an emotional attachment to this person, your almost equally, just in opposite ways, unavailable to this man as far as expressing to him things that matter to you. And it happens all the time. So I don't want y'all to think that it's just men. Men do it in, I would say, more overt ways, more obvious ways, but women are equal in some ways, equally just in covert ways, not as available to men when they don't feel as safe or when they haven't healed from pain and trauma of previous relationships. And it's even emotional intelligence or availability is even in trust. Like sometimes you can't be in a relationship with a man that you and actually trust him. Sometimes you're going through phones, sometimes you're jealous. So I want everybody to stop pointing the fingers real quick and just realize childhood trauma and unhealthy attachment styles can touch us both. All right. It's not just men, it's men and women. So that's the last thing I wanted to say, Aaron.
All right. So in closing, the last thing I got to say is I totally agree with you. And we got to stop demonizing each other. Women demonizing men and men demonizing women. We all have the same issues. And the last thing I want to say is, ladies, you'll have sex with a man, but you won't be intimate with a man. Intimacy is intimacy. And a lot of you ladies, you think men are emotionally unavailable. A lot of you ladies are emotionally unavailable. You'll let a man inside of you, but you won't let a man inside. And that is intimacy. And a lot of you ladies, it happened when you were a child, when somebody did something to you and it closed that side of you up for the last 20 years of your life. All right, bro, go and do what you got to do. This was a great conversation.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Doc Boss.
All right.